Hello, ako nga pala si Eugene Mondala and today is magko-configure tayo ng switch gamit yung switch ng Juniper. So gawa muna tayo ng topology. Then i-connect natin sila. Then i-start na po natin sila. Yung PC1 or lahat po. I-start. Then sa PC1 is lalagyan natin ng IP yung PC1. So lagay natin dyan yung IP, then yung subnet mask, then lagyan din natin ng gateway. Yan, isi-save na rin natin. Then i-show IP natin kung nalagyan na. Then i-ping natin yung IP kung gumagana. So yun, gumagana. Then ganun din sa PC2. Same process lang. Then ipiping na rin natin kung gumagana. Then yun, gumagana siya. Then next is yung punta tayo sa switch ng Juniper. So antayin lang natin yan. Yan yung login niya is root, then password niya is Juniper kasi yun yung binigay ng Juniper sa JNS3. Then ika-clear natin, then mag-edit na tayo at mag-set na tayo ng interfaces between address ng PC1. Then magko-commit tayo para ma-save or ma-complete. Then same process din sa PC2. Palitan lang yung IP, tas yung EM is yung 5. Then magko-comment tayo. Then enter. Then ipiping na rin natin dito yung dalawang PC. So yung PC1. So nagpiping siya, connected na sila sa switch ng Juniper. Then sunod naman natin iping is yung PC2. So yung IP niya is 2.1. So gumagana siya. Next naman is magsiset tayo ng balance. So ayun, para mag-communicate sila between PC1 to PC2 into switch. So commit na natin para save or complete. Then i-show natin yung nagawa nating mga bilan. Dito is magsiset tayo ng interfaces, internet through routing. Kasi sa napanood kong tutorial is ganito yung ginawa niya. Kung paano mag-configure ng switch ng Juniper. So sa akin is ayaw. So hanggang dito na lang yung aking tutorial. So, di-delete ko na yung bilan since di gumagana yung routing tsaka yung switching. Then, tsaka ko siya i-commit para ma-save. So, yun lang po.
Today's lecture we are going to configure static routing on Juno OS devices. Are you ready? Let's start our today's mission. First, let me introduce our scenario. I put 3 Juno OS routers. The first Juno OS router is connected to my system. And the range of the IP address between my computer and Juno OS router is 10.0.0.0. Between router 1 and router 2 is 10.0.1.0 and between router 2 and router 3 is 10.0.2.0. I assign the IP addresses and check the connectivity between these routers. And this is the way that you must follow it. Before configuring any types of routing, please check the connectivity between your routers. Before we start, let me emphasize on.
So bago ka mag-start mag-configure is check mo daw yung connectivity ng mga router natin.
An important tip. Routers must know about the routes and the networks. Otherwise, they won't route your packets. In our scenario, we have 3 networks. 10.0.0, 10.0.1, 10.0.2. And if you want to have a complete routing infrastructure, all of your routers must know about these networks. When you configure an IP address on your interfaces, the range of the IP address network become your directly connected network. and for directly connected network, you don't need to configure routing because JunoS will do it automatically. If here I run show route, you will see that for the range of 10.0.0/24 and for 10.010/24, I have routes without any routing configuration. I just configure IP addresses, and JunoS identifies them as the directly connected networks and put them in the routing table. So for this router, I just need one route for the network of 10.0.20. But I want to do this with a default route, because I want to show you that how you could write default routes inside JunoS devices. As I mentioned before, default routes are the routes that all of the destinations contains in them, and they mean all networks with all subnet masks. To configure routing, we go to Edit Routing Options. And here for static routing, we must mention set static route, and then you mention your destination. And here I want to write a default route because router 1 only connects to one router, and for going to each of destinations, he must go to router 2, and there is no any
So, yung router 1 is doon lang daw siya nakakonect tsaka sa router 2.
other router connectivity. With the subnet mask of 0, please go to next hop, the IP address of 10.0.1.2. This is the IP address which is
Make sure na kabisado natin yung IP address ng mga router natin para hindi tayo maligaw or magkamali.
directly connected from router 1 to router 2. By default, this next hop must be directly connected because JunoS does not reverse lookup for next hop IP addresses. But you could do this, and you could mention the IP address of this router, for example, as the next hop of a route. But you must enable reverse lookup by resolve configuration. In addition to enabling reverse lookup, you must have a path to this next hop which is not directly to you, and you could configure it via static routes and dynamic routes. And Juniper documentations advise you to do this with dynamic routing because each time it is not reachable, it will remove from the routing table automatically. For now, I
So, pag hindi daw ma-reach or ma-reachable yung router is ma-remove siya automatically sa Juniper.
use my really next hop router as my next hop address and press enter. And like many other configuration changes,
So, sinet niya na yung IP niya. Then yung subnet mask.
we must commit our change here. For router
So, kinomit niya para is makomplete yung nilagay niyang IP tsaka subnet mask at para ma-save ka na.
2, if we run show route command, you will see that network 10 and 20 are directly connected.
So, yun. Nakakonect na sila.
But here, instead of default route, I want to mention the specific prefix. I mean the network of 10.0.0.0. Like this. We go to Edit, Routing, Options, and here we use Set Static Route for the network of 10.0.0.0/24, and the next hop will be 10.0.1.1. Look at the scenario again. In router 2, I want to say
So, yun. Nagsiset na siya sa ng subnet mask at IP sa router 2 ng Juniper. O, Juniper.
that router, if you want to go to the network of 10.0.0.0/24, your next hop will be 10.0.1.1, like this. And we press enter and commit our changes. And in router 3, again, since we only have one connection, we configure the default route to router 2 for all of the networks. So again here, in Edit, Routing Options, I say set a static route 0.0.0.0/0. Your next hop will be 10.0.2.1, which is the
So, yun. Nailagay na rin sa router 3. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1. 10.0.2.1.
the IP address of router 2 and we press enter.
So, ganun is pinagko-connect niya yung router 2 to router 3 para mag-communicate sila.
Sorry, I must mention next hop here. Next dash hop here and commit my changes. To be sure about our routing infrastructure, I want to check my routing tables again with show route command to see everything is okay. We have default route here. Here I know about all of the networks. 2 of them are directly and 1 of them is static. And here also I have default route. You see, I have default route which is static and 2 directly connected network. Now it's the time to check my connectivity from my PC to end router. I do this hop by hop or router by router. First I check my first router which is set as my default gateway on my computer. You see, I have connectivity between my PC and
So, chinek niya yung IP niya gamit yung Windows. So, may connection dahil na ping.
my first router. Next, I will check the next router which is 10.0.1.2 and I could ping it.
So, ngayon is chinek niya na yung kanina is chinek niya yung IP ng PC. Ngayon, chinek niya yung IP ng router niya. So, yan, may connection.
And the last router is 10.0.2.2. And you see, I have the connectivity. In situations that you have this connection inside your networks, it's the way to
So, yan, naka-connect na siya daw sa internet. May connection na siya.
troubleshoot. You must check your path from the first to the end. And in many references, we advise that first check ourselves with pinging 127.0.0.0.1, which is the loopback address of our computer, to be sure that
So, ito yung default IP ng computer.
our TCP IP on our system is working correct. And after that, we go hop by hop. We could do this with pinging hop by hop, or in Windows, we could use the traceRT command. And with -d, we ignore DNS lookups and then we mention our destination. And here you see that this hop by hop going is doing automatically by traceRT command. TraceRT, just like the ping, use ICMP messages. And you see the trace is complete and I'm reaching the destination. But if you don't have connectivity at one of these steps, you will see messages like request timeout or other error messages. And this will show you that where you have problem. And you could find the right place that you have, go to it and find your problems. The ping and the trace RT also available in JNCIA. The ping is just like the ping in Windows, but the trace RT replaces traceroute, which is the same command in Unix operating systems. I could ping 10.0.2.2 in router 1. If you run the ping command in JNCIA without parameters, it will continuously ping the destination. And if you want to stop it, you could use Ctrl+C. But you could specify the number of ICMP packets with count option. Count, for example, 5. I just want to send 5 ICMP echo requests and receive the replies.
So, ganun pala yung kung gusto mo 5 lang yung count niya, is ganun lang kahaba yung napiping niya.
You see, after 5 messages, the prompt stops. Also, you could use the Cisco format for pinging. This is the operating system's format. But if you're Cisco Grow, you know that Cisco, instead of this type of pinging, using exclamation marks. And this is also available in JNCIA. Instead of set space. And we put a name for our routing options. You could do connectivity for IP version 6 as well. To do so, we go to edit routing options again. And instead of set static route, we use set rib routing information base. And we put a name for our routing information base.
So, yung rib daw is routing information base.
And JNCIA's documentations advise
Gamitin niya daw yun.
advise you to use the same name as the routing table for IP version 6. And it is inet 6.0, and then we say static and then route, and for default route we put it like this: 0:/0. This is the default route for IP version 6. And then next hop, and we put the IP address of the next hop, for example 2001.1, and this will be our default route for IP version 6. And if your prefixes are specified, instead of 0:/0 you mention your prefix. As I mentioned before, if you want to mention a router that is not directly connected to your router as the next hop, you must enable reverse lookup inside JNCIA, and you must configure dynamic or starting routing as well. To enable reverse lookup for next hop in JNCIA, you must mention it inside your route. I mean, you should use it like this: set static route, for example, for your network of 10.0.3.0/24, and here use resolve. In this way, resolution of indirectly connected next hop will be enabled. Assume that we have a router like this, and we want to use it as our internet router, and we have two interactions. It's next, and CMA 40 is 10.0 next, and in the pre. If I see my configurations, you will see this here. You see, a static route 40/0 next hop is 10.021, and qualified next hop is 10.0 defined as well. Next, and we could configure static ping and trace route for troubleshooting. After that, we learn how we could enable reverse lookup with result, and finally we learn watching me. I hope this lecture.
So, yun lang yung static routing in Juniper. So, ito yung mga matutunan mong skills: configure static route using ping and tracer route for troubleshooting, enable reverse lookup, and using qualified next hook. So, yun lang po. Thank you for watching.